In this video, we're going to be looking at how we can customize the email verification for our application. So if you take a look at Laravel documentation, there's a customization section, and we can essentially just copy and paste this here. But basically, we can go in here and say import notification. And what it will go ahead and do is it will have a notifiable object, which will be the user, and we have the URL. And we can then essentially go ahead and customize what we want it to say in here. We could also go ahead and add a view in here. Now, for now, I think we can essentially just leave it as it is. We just need to add this closing statement in here. But essentially, if you wish to customize it a bit, then you have the option to do it in here. Now, the second thing I want to go ahead and essentially take a look at now is, while we're not doing many emails in this application, we are going to be sending emails out for when you purchase a product or when you sign up to the application. So we're going to have some basic ones here. Now, I personally like to use Mazel here, and we can go ahead and quite easily install this. So we need to just make sure we have Node.js installed. We can then use npx create Mazel. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go into cd resources, and I'm going to create one here. I'm going to just make the terminal a bit bigger. And we're going to create this one called emails. We're going to use the default starter kit. We're going to install the dependencies, and we're just going to let us do its job here. So if we close this down, inside our resources now, inside views, we will have our emails, but we want, in this case, to use the Mazel bit here. So if we cd into emails and do npm I for install, we essentially have our emails in here. It starts out with just giving you a very basic one here, but we want to essentially go ahead and use this as our way to verify an email for the user. So I'm going to go ahead and say npm run dev, and we have this verify email here. So we can essentially go ahead and use Tailwind in our email classes. This is the reason why I personally prefer to use it. So you can go ahead and change the logo here. We also have the production logo where it's going to be rendered from. The URL for the application, in this case, we can just say config app the URL. And we can go ahead and, we should be able to just use URL in here. And we can go ahead and have config app name at the bottom here for the copyright. And then we can go ahead and just basically add the other variables in here that we would use for email verification. We're going to go up and do the same here. And I think that's everything we need. So now what we can go ahead and do is just quickly also take a look inside our production configuration. So we'll have this in here. And there's an output path we can specify. So I'm going to go ahead and basically just change this around. This will go into the views emails folder, and we will just have it rendered as a HTML file when we run npm run build. So if we go and say npm run build, hopefully we should have it in here. And we have the logo, which is perfect, and we have this email in here. It gets the variables correctly if we take a look quickly. That seems to be about right. We can then essentially go ahead in here and create a mails folder. It's normally where I store my emails. And just have verify blade.php. Copy and paste this in. And in this case, we don't need the logo in here because that seems irrelevant, because we need to just get that from here. So just slash, and then let's have actually config app the name. And let's go ahead and make sure we do the same thing here as well. And there we go. Now we have the alt text as well. And outside of that, what we really want to go ahead and do in here is now essentially just replace this with a view. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this action. I'm going to have view mails.verify. User is going to be notifiable, and that should hopefully work. So this will now customize the template to look a little bit nicer. And again, we need to make sure we actually copy and paste the correct one here. So if we go ahead and copy this one in here, sorry, then it will render correctly. And then for the alt text, just go ahead and do config app.name. So now in this sense, you should hopefully be able to get it to work to the right place, and the images will be to images/logo.png, or in our case, we have this to like this. But this is essentially how I think we should at least have the custom email styling for something like verify email. You can use this. This is not something you have to use in the application. This is more of a nice to have if you want to use something like Tailwind in your emails, then it will look a bit better. The reason why we just can't pull in Tailwind into the emails like we do normally is because it would essentially be really awkward with having too much CSS for an email to render. So that's why this essentially goes ahead and just takes the classes and generates that into CSS for those specific classes that we use, and the rest of them won't be used, and it just generates all the CSS for us in here based on those Tailwind classes and the configuration we have set in there. But that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching it. Please hit the like and the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.